to Cherry Clips. Today, I'll be sharing a movie named My Best Summer. Georgia is a first-year high school student. One day, she comes to the bulletin board to see which class she will be in the new semester. There, she meets a boy named Henry. They are in the same class. What's more, Georgia's name, together with Henry's name, is a Chinese idiom, which means take to heart. Then, their story begins. In the first class, the teacher asks students to choose their seats freely. When the other students have chosen their preferred seats, Henry tells the teacher he wants to sit with Georgia. Under all the eyes of their classmates, Georgia agrees. In the following days, Georgia finds Henry always sleeps in class. Thus, he is punished for standing outside the classroom. Georgia is confused how he could be the legend in physics. However, later, she is surprised that though he always hands in his examination paper in advance, he always ranks first of the whole grade in exams. She also watches him playing basketball and is attracted by his handsome appearance. One day, Georgia and Henry ride their bikes back home together. Georgia falls down by accident. She hurts her hand. Seeing that, Henry is very nervous. He puts a band-aid on her bleeding hand. He also says he will protect her in the future. At night, Georgia recalls this scene in bed. She smiles like a happy girl in love. After knowing their affairs, Georgia's friends believe Henry likes her. They make several steps for Georgia to test Henry. Step A. Rescuing the damsel in distress. Georgia's friends throw the key of her bike and ask her to say it's lost. If Henry likes her, he will definitely offer her a ride back home. Georgia gives it a try. Knowing that Georgia lost her key, Henry says he can help her get home. However, he doesn't ride with her back home. He takes her to the bus station. He asks her to take the bus. That shocks Georgia and her friends. At the moment when Georgia thinks maybe it's just her own illusion, Henry catches up and stops the bus. Georgia gets off and shouts at him. Henry explains he didn't realize until she got on the bus he should have taken her home on his bike. Sitting on the back of Henry's bike, Georgia smiles happily. Then, step B. Getting drunk loosens the tongue. At the restaurant, Georgia's friends give her 2 bottles of beer.
这样不好吧？哎呀，使不得，孩子套不着狼。
However, Georgia gets drunk. Henry carries her on his back to take her home. One day, Henry asks Georgia to help him return a notebook to a classmate. But later, he sees Georgia and her friends peep at the notebook and discuss the content in it. He is angry. After that, he doesn't talk to Georgia. In class, the teacher is deducing a math question. He asks students to raise hands if they don't understand. Though Georgia doesn't understand, she dares not to raise her hand. Henry notices it. He raises his hand and says he doesn't understand the question, so the teacher explains the question again. Later, Georgia writes Henry a note. She apologizes to him for the notebook. Henry smiles and forgives her. Georgia becomes happy again. After class, there's a parent-teacher conference. Georgia hears Henry's mother ask the teacher to change his seat because his mother thinks Georgia has a negative impact on him. She says studying is Henry's only way out, so he can't afford to waste it. Henry lies to his mother. He told his mother that his desk mate is a good student. Until today, she finds out her score is so bad. At this moment, Henry comes. He asks his mother to stop talking about that and takes her away. Georgia is angry after hearing the conversation. At the gym, she asks Henry, "Why did you lie? Why did you say your desk mate is a good student? Did I embarrass you?" Henry turns around and leaves without replying. Georgia follows him in the rain. She keeps asking him to say something. At last, he tells her a story of his desk mate in junior school. He explains to Georgia that he wants to be her desk mate, so he lied to his mother. Georgia is moved. On a rainy day, a freak is singing at the playground to confess to his loved girl. All students are attracted and watching in the building. Some guards are ordered to catch him. The freak struggles in the rain. At this moment, Henry rushes to the playground. He says to the freak, "What's your problem singing here? Do you have courage to sing and confess at the National Day singing competition?" In the competition, the freak, Henry and their classmates sing a romantic song named Courage together. Henry looks at Georgia affectionately. She knows this song is for her. Though they don't get any prize in this singing competition because the song isn't filled in advance, their teacher praises their courage to express themselves bravely. In the following days, Georgia and Henry become closer and closer. They study together and promise to go to the same city after graduation. They play and eat together. They plant a tree together on a hill. They take a ferry to travel together. On the day when they promise to see the results of the college entrance examination together, Georgia waits for Henry until dark, but he never shows up. Henry disappears and his phone number is suspended. In the following 7 years, Georgia can't contact him. However, at their classmates' reunion, Henry shows up. He says he came back from studying abroad. Henry sits beside Georgia and asks how she was. She doesn't reply, but keeps drinking. At last, Georgia is drunk. Henry carries her on his back and takes her back home as before. After arriving home, Georgia asks Henry why he hid from her the whole time.
可为什么你要一直躲着我呢？
She finds the tattoo on his arm. It's a lucky charm she drew for him.
余淮，你不喜欢我吗？
But Henry leaves without explaining. Georgia is very sad. One day, she drinks with her friends at a bar. When they recall their past day, a friend says that Henry never went abroad. Actually, before the college entrance exam, Henry's mother got uremia. He spent all their money to treat his mother. Though he was admitted by a college in the US, he couldn't afford the tuition. He took a job before he graduated, and he's been taking care of his mom while working. In order to not affect Georgia's college entrance exam, he acted like nothing had happened. Knowing that Georgia is getting better, he was too ashamed to see her. He always drank with his friend when he was upset. He asked him to keep this a secret. After knowing the truth, Georgia calls Henry immediately. She asks him why he didn't tell her anything. She says she won't abandon him. But Henry says they're over. He asks Georgia not to call him anymore. In the afternoon, Georgia learns from a program that the freak has become a famous singer now. He says the inspiration of his song is from the story of Georgia and Henry. Hearing that, Georgia sends Henry some pictures of them. Looking at these pictures, Henry breaks out in tears. Georgia says she will wait for him at the hill they went to before. At last, Henry shows up. Georgia makes a confession to Henry.
我就是白痴，我白痴我才暴力，我白痴才一个人考到北京，最后才等了你7年，白痴我才喜欢你。
Henry holds her hands and takes her to the tree they planted together. They look at each other and smile happily in front of the tree. Then the movie ends. After watching this movie, I think it wants to encourage us to pursue our love bravely, because youth is precious. Okay, that's all for today's movie. If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe with the bell. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.